Today we are going to put ripples on Echo Creek. Stay tuned, that's coming right up. Hi, I'm Roy Smith. First, an important announcement. Today's video is video number 100 on my channel. These 100 videos include my early ones way back in 2014, which quite frankly were terrible. But I have persisted, and now I try to bring you a new video at 10 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday morning. So I encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you're new here so that you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. Today I'm going to apply Woodland Scenic's water ripples to Echo Creek. And while we're waiting for the ripples to set up, I'm going to show you some of the other things I have done at Echo Canyon this week. You'll recall that I was concerned about using deep pour water in last Saturday's episode. Well, I followed the instructions and it turned out just fine. Remember? Today I have the same concern about using Woodland Scenic's water ripples on my layout. I have never used this product before and I'm concerned about how it will turn out. I ask myself, will water ripples obscure the features under the water in Echo Creek, such as the shallow areas? Will it diminish the shine of the water in the creek? I have asked my friends on Facebook if they have used this product and what they think of it. They have advised me to apply the first coat of water ripples lightly. Then, after the first coat has cured, they say I can go back and apply a second coat if I want to, especially around the rocks and in places where the creek changes course. I really appreciate this kind of advice, whether on Facebook or right here on YouTube, as I go about creating something that hopefully resembles the prototype I am modeling. This is what Echo Creek looked like at the end of last Saturday's episode. You'll recall that we put Woodland Scenic's deep pour water in the creek during that episode. And this is Woodland Scenic's water ripples. In a moment I'm going to start applying a bit of it in the creek. First though, let me show you two photos that illustrate what I hope to accomplish today. This is a photo of Echo Creek where it flows into Weber River just outside of Echo Canyon. Weber River is the blue water at the bottom of the photo with ripples and waves in it. Echo Creek is the muddy stream flowing into Weber River, bringing lots of sediment down from the canyon. At this spot, Echo Creek is flowing down at a pretty steep grade, but even so, you see very few ripples in it. And as you go a bit further up the canyon, Echo Creek meanders and is slow moving with even fewer ripples than you see here. This photo tells me that I should not plan to put a lot of heavy ripples in Echo Creek and certainly no waves because it is not a raging torrent of water. Now I showed you this photo last week. This is not Echo Creek in Utah. In fact, the photo was taken in Wyoming. But it shows you the kind of ripples that I would like to create in Echo Creek. The stream is flowing gently and there are ripples only in certain spots. Okay, let's apply water ripples to the creek. When you open the container, the contents look like a clear gel. I'm dabbing it on in specific spots with a fairly stiff bristled artist brush around the rocks and along the edges of the creek. I'll be honest with you, I'm having trouble actually seeing it. I'll bet you're having even more trouble seeing it than I am. I need to look at it from certain angles and in certain room light to see it. Well, let's keep going. We'll see what it looks like later on. It's going on clear and it's supposed to dry clear. Later on, I'll try to adjust the camera angle so that you might be able to see it better after it sets up. As you can see, I'm just dabbing it on right out of the container. The instructions on the container say that you can reduce the height of the ripples using a spray of water or alcohol, but at this point I don't think that will be necessary. Okay, let me finish up this application off camera. We'll come back later in this video to see what it looks like. Meanwhile, let's take a look at some of the other things I did at Echo Canyon this week. First, I removed the track and highway overpass in the canyon. I then painted the sub-road bed under the track with a dark gray latex paint. I will use this same dark gray color to paint and ballast the track. I've seen this color on the prototype and I like it very much. Next, I drilled holes for the Kato drop feeders, or as Kato calls them, terminal unijoiners. The drop feeders must be installed before the track can be glued down, painted, and ballasted. I normally place drop feeders every 3 feet or so, although I probably don't have to place them that close together, not when using Kato Unitrack. I discussed this in other videos about Kato Unitrack. Now, while the gray paint is drying, I'm going to fill the joint between the existing benchwork and the extension that I installed for Echo Creek. I'm using spackling paste to fill the joint. A putty knife works well to do this, but my finger works even better. Remember those 2 holes I showed you last Saturday? The holes contain 2 of the 4 screws that hold the Echo Creek extension to the existing benchwork. I wanted to convert the holes into drainage ditches. Sadly, I discovered that I couldn't do that. Water would flow into the drainage ditches instead of out of them because of the level of the terrain here. So for now, I decided to just cover them up. I put strips of masking tape on the top of them and covered the masking tape with spackling paste. I've used this masking tape technique elsewhere on my layout with success in the past. Perhaps I can come back later on to take a second look at doing the drainage ditches, because we are constantly coming back and redoing things on our layouts. It will be easy to come back and make any changes here, because the holes are only covered with masking tape and spackling paste. Also, I can easily regain access to those 2 screws if I need to remove the extension for any reason. Now I'm installing the drop feeders. This is easy to do. No soldering, not with Kato Unitrack. I just need to make sure that I put the white wire and the blue wire on the same rail all the way around the layout. Getting them reversed would cause a tremendous short on the layout. There, the track in Echo Canyon has been relayed. I won't be painting or ballasting it right now. I will come back and do that later on. In fact, it probably will be one of the last things I do in Echo Canyon, just as it normally is elsewhere on my layout. I want to make sure that trains run on it without any problems before fixing it down permanently. Now the spackling paste between the tracks and the creek has dried, so I'm going to go ahead and paint this area. I use green paint along the creek and yellow paint closer to the tracks, typical of the colors in this semi-arid area of Utah. I use my finger to blend the colors together so that there is no sharp demarcation between them. Occasionally, making my finger wet by dipping it in a cup of water helps me blend the colors together. Now I'm painting the embankment between the tracks and Echo Canyon Road. Before going any further with the painting, let me show you some rock outcroppings that I cut into the embankment. I didn't use plaster molds. I just carved these outcroppings right into the spackling paste and underlying white styrofoam that I used to create the embankment. This is what the embankment looks like on the prototype. I want to try to use these same colors on my layout. Obviously, you can see Echo Canyon Road in this photo. I believe the embankment is man-made and was created when the road was constructed in the 1920s. And if you look carefully, you can see just a bit of Echo Creek to the right of center at the bottom of the photo. All right, back to work on painting the embankment. Notice how I'm using vertical strokes with the brush to create the appearance of erosion on the embankment similar to that on the prototype. Right now the color I am using is burnt umber. I will come back later and also apply washes of stone gray, rusty orange, and ochre yellow to recreate the colors of the prototype. For the most part, I use a dry brush technique to maintain the vertical lines. If I applied heavy washes, then the paint would run together and the vertical lines probably would disappear. Here's what the embankment looks like now that I have painted it. You can see that I have also painted the embankment on the other side of the highway overpass. I'm not going to say that I'm done painting this area because I often come back later to do touch-up work. You can see that I haven't painted the overpass itself with a concrete color yet. I will do that and permanently install the overpass after the track under it has been installed, painted, and ballasted. One more thing before we go back and take a look at the ripples on Echo Creek. Let's swing the camera around to the opposite side of my train room. I finally finished the shelves for my extra diesel locomotives and have installed the shelves on the wall. My layout is a bit crowded with diesels that get in the way of operations and in the way of simply running trains, so I can put the ones I'm not using here on the shelves. Right now there's only one diesel on the shelves, but the shelves can hold up to 40 of them. I have a tendency to lose diesels on the vast expanse of my layout. They are far less likely to get lost once I put them on the shelves. All right, let's go back and take a look at the ripples on Echo Creek. I am trying to tilt the camera so that the room light will reflect the ripples and you can see them better. How well you can see the ripples depends on the direction of the light that is striking them. Sometimes they even seem to sparkle depending on the light. I think the same thing happens on real creeks. And look at this, I still have plenty of water ripples left over. The container looks like it's completely full. I have hardly used any of this product in Echo Creek. There you have it. My advice for what it's worth, go ahead and put a water feature on your layout if it's appropriate. Water features are very interesting and attractive. It's not so hard to create water in your layout and the results are worth the effort. Sadly, the Echo Canyon series will soon come to an end. Then we will turn to projects elsewhere on the layout. Perhaps we can run more trains and even do some ops videos. But not yet. I still have to plant static grass throughout the canyon, and I have to plant trees and other vegetation along the creek. I don't want you to miss any of the upcoming episodes, so be sure to subscribe if you're new here. And be sure to post any comments you may have down below, because sharing the hobby is one of the best things about model railroading. And if you liked this video, I invite you to give it a thumbs up down below. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching. Until next time, happy railroading. I will see you again very soon.